Sorry about that interruption. I forgot to delete stuff off the card, so I ran out of space. So this is part 2. There's the Sunderland Heritage Centre, and the back of the parish church. There's a bit of land there. There is one headstone against the wall in there, and there's one inside the garden of the Sunderland Heritage Centre. So, bearing in mind, something like 500 to 600 headstones were taken down when it was made into a garden. This is what's left. Now, the ones in 1903, when there were epitaphs were recorded, most of them were pretty much all legible, apart from the odd word on a couple of them when I've read the book, like the booklet. But if you look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, just probably about 100 or so. And again, they're left just to deteriorate. The light's quite good today, so I just might be able to read them. Robert Paisley Wooler. See, there's some under there as well, completely covered in moss. I always thought that these would have been much better when they took them down, just to put them up inside the gated garden. They have deteriorated quite a bit in the last. I think the first time I ever came across them was about 3 years ago. I didn't even know they were there, as you wouldn't, because you're so far back of the churchyard. Yeah, it's hard to see. Probably my favourite headstone in the whole of Sunderland is down here as well. I have got access to the epitaphs for most of these in various places. George Barnes. There's one for the Eshelby family somewhere along here, where the 2 sons became orphans. There's a message about them. They both had successful lives, thankfully, which wasn't always the case. One went off, emigrated to America, became a businessman, became a general in the American Civil War. That was Eshelby. This is the finest headstone in the whole of Sunderland. It's for a girl called Susanna Morrison. She was the niece of the Reverend Hampson, who was a rector here. Her father was a mining agent for the Blackett Bowman lead mining company, which was up in the Dales. Had a fine house in Newcastle. When Susanna died, she lived at a place called White House, which is near Gateshead. It's all in Latin, and it's beautifully engraved. You can see the little head there, ornate markings on it and stuff. If you want to actually see pretty much a transcription of it on Sunderland History, Friends of Sunderland Cemetery, Sunderland History Memories, look for a story called Susanna, and that goes into a lot of detail about her life and her family, and there's a picture of it which is in excellent condition. Again, there's all these which have just completely left. I hadn't realised there was some in the back, so there's probably about maybe 150 as well. So much history is just lost. See if we can see what's in here. Roy Hudson. Get some on this one. Oh, this one's in good nick. The burial ground of Sarah. It looks like Sarah Johnson, George, their son, departed this life May the 14th, 1809, aged 6 months. So what's that? 215 years ago. You can see they're quite large for that. So there's John McCain. Walk down towards Jack Crawford's, try and avoid dog crap, being chased by dogs though. I always think it's a shame that all that history just ended up being dumped in the corner, out of the way. I've been through a lot of the burial records, and you'll find in here comedians, actors, soldiers, ship owners, shipbuilders, drapers, butchers, cordwainers, all the old professions. There's no physical trace of them. If you'd come here in 1903, it would have just been the history lesson of Sunderland in the 1700s and 1800s. The stories. This is a place where most of the victims of the two major cholera epidemics were buried, and the reason for that was just because most of them were from Sunderland. I think in the 1831 epidemic, there was just a couple of dozen of people from Bishop Wearmouth who died, a couple of dozen from Monk Wearmouth, and the vast majority, I think it was 202, but I think it was about 3/4 were buried in this particular churchyard. They weren't buried in pits or anything like that, they were each given individual burials, often at night, outside the church, brought here, buried by lamplight to reduce the infections by not having them in the church. There was ones from 1831 and most of them had post-mortems done, and here's the one. The grave of Jack Crawford, the hero of Camperdown, the sailor who heroically nailed Admiral Duncan's flag to the main top, something mast of HMS Venerable, after it had been shot away in the glorious action of Camperdown, October the 11th, 1797. Jack Crawford was born in the Pottery Bank, Sunderland, 1775, and died in his native town in 1831, aged 56 years. He was actually one of the victims of that 1831 cholera epidemic. For a visitor, that's what I said, there's two of them coming. That headstone was erected decades later by public subscription.